Everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking bullet journaling in the Hobonichi weeks. If you've been up to date with my videos recently, you'll know that I set up a bullet journal in my lecture term. I found that my old system wasn't really working for me. I found that I had a lot of stuff that kind of came up throughout the day, and in my Hobonichi because on my weeks, no matter how I had it set up, I didn't have anywhere to capture some of those things or capture notes, and I ended up with kind of scrappy bits of paper or notes pages, and yeah, I needed everything together. So I set up a bullet journal to basically kind of get around that. And although I really enjoyed the setup, there was a few reasons that it didn't work for me. I loved the way that I had the months and the weeks set up. It definitely, spoke to how I work best in terms of having a great monthly kind of dashboard with events and tasks, and then having this weekly setup. But I found that the size was a bit too big for me. There was just something about it that, even though my cousin is obviously slightly bigger, I didn't like having this much space, particularly for the bullet journal side of things. I didn't enjoy writing on the paper and the pen that I needed to use, and I wasn't gelling with it. But I was gelling with the system, so I set about thinking how I could get around it in my week. So something smaller, something a bit more compact, and decided to try setting up a bullet journal in this. Previously, I've seen people do a bullet journal where they plan in the weeks as normal and then just use the notes pages as a daily log. I knew that wouldn't work for me. The one thing that I hate doing, and if you saw my bullet journal setup post, you'll know I hate flicking between pages. So I couldn't think of anything worse than like setting up my week here and then having my daily logs and having to flip back and forth. That wouldn't work for me. So I set about trying to find a bullet journal setup in my weeks that would allow me to keep everything together, but would keep me organized and keep me able to jot things down and make notes in a way that I wasn't previously, either in my weeks or my cousin. So this is the first iteration of the bullet journal in the weeks, and the first thing I wanted to do was actually try planning with a kit. I don't believe that bullet journaling has to be pretty, but as a bit of an experiment, I wanted to use a kit from the shop and see if I could make it work with this kind of bullet journal layout. And I do like how it turned out. I like having a bit of prettiness to it. The weeks, is a great planner for adding a bit of flair without making it look, sticker crazy. In terms of the actual layout and setup, what I did was combined kind of the elements of the different planning styles that I have and mashed them together with kind of the best bits of everything. So this left-hand page is all pre-planning. So I like to pre-plan. It's one thing that I don't like about traditional bullet journaling. I like to have my week set up in advance. So that was this side of the page. So this was all events, and this was just all to do. So it meant that I could sit down on a Sunday, plot out my week from the get-go and know, when I'm busy, when I'm not, things that need to be done on certain days, all good. And then from Monday, I switched into this side of the page. So anything that came up or to-do list for that day got wrote in here. Anything that came up though that was for a future day, so if something came up on Monday for Thursday, I would write it in Thursday. So only things that actually happened or need to happen in day go on here. That worked out really well, really enjoyed it. But one thing that I did want to change was I was missing something that I always put in my weeks, which is waiting on. So I like to have an area where I can see what I'm waiting on, whether it be emails or orders or anything. I like to have that area. And as I had enough space in this week to have all my days and still have room, I decided to carve out this area using again a sticker kit this week just for anything I was waiting on. This worked really well. Again, really liked it. The only thing that didn't was the ink. So this week I was using my Mahjong A1, which is a Pilot Vanishing Point dupe. Great pen. The issue that I had was the ink. So I've quickly realised recently that me and fountain pen ink do not go well together. I use a lot of hand moisturiser because I've got stupidly dry hands, and I found that no matter what I do with fountain pen ink, leave it dry, use blotting paper, anything, as soon as I have hand cream on my hands, I will smear the ink. I don't even have particularly greasy hand cream, but it's just what happens. And I would rather have softer hands and not use fountain pen ink, at least for a little while. So what I did is I ditched the fountain pen for the first time in a long time and moved into my Hobonichi pen. So that was change number 1 of week 3 of the experiment. Change number 2 is I also ditched the kit for the week. Added in a few stickers, added in some of my simple shapes from the shop and just a little bit of washi tape to add a bit of colour and decoration. And then what I also did is changed up how I did this left-hand page, because although this layout was working, I was missing my categories. So if you've seen how I plan in my cousin, you will know that I have set categories that I plan by. So life, shop, blog, YouTube, socials, and then there's just some meals and exercise logging here. I missed being able to categorize my to-dos. I didn't like the fact that when I was pre-planning, everything was just mixed up. I like to be able to see at a glance, okay, what shop tasks have I got to do? What content tasks have I got to do? And then what's just life? So what I did from this week was using just a fine liner to, carve out some kind of task lines, I guess, and also just to, demarcate the areas a bit cleaner. I divvied up this page into life, shop and content. So anything content is YouTube, blog, and like Instagram, Pinterest, things like that. So everything in life is events, so all my events go in here, and any life to-dos go in here. And then obviously anything shop related, and then basically everything else Lethbridge paper that isn't the shop goes in here. This allowed me to really kind of see much better at a glance, where my tasks were. Was I having a heavy shop day? Was I having a heavy content day? And it helped my brain just stay a lot more organized. Then coupled with using, the daily logs in the same way as the other weeks, it worked out really, really well. I really enjoyed this layout. The other thing that I added in, because again, I liked having this, and it's a part that I've kind of missed from other layouts that I've used in the past where I had, so here I had a section for general to-dos for the week. So they didn't have a specific day that they needed to be done, so I didn't want to just arbitrarily write them in here, particularly as I was using this space for events and to-dos. I didn't want to, fill up that unnecessarily and then have, no room to maybe write an event that came up. So I carved out, because I didn't need all of this space for things I was waiting on, I carved out this space for general to-dos. So things that didn't need to be done on a set day. So as I'm planning, as I'm going through my day, I can look here and go, is there anything here that I can knock off or want to knock off? Great, done. And that's where I'm up to in terms of current layout. I have kept that up to this week and just changing up the colour, and I'll probably add some washi in. And I really like it. It's really working for me. It just ticks all the boxes in terms of how my brain works and, how I need things to be laid out, but gives me that space to, make a note of things as they come up. Anything that needs to go in the inbox in the cousin, I could just make note of it and then add in the mark to say that I have, moved it into that section once I've done. So for those that aren't aware, the kind of, it's like a little arrow. You in bullet journaling, you put that to signify that you have migrated it. So, I can capture things that might need to go on a wish list or an inbox or a present idea, and then just migrate it later, and I can look back and go, okay, I've actioned everything here. The one thing that I want to think about how I do is any notes that need to be migrated. So perfect example, actually, talking of wish lists. So I made a note of some ink that I do want to try that is apparently quite good when it comes to smearing or lack of. I made a note of that, but then I have no way of kind of indicating when I've done something with that note. There's other notes that, just squash results from a game that I played. I don't need to migrate that anywhere. So I think I might try and come up with a different signifier for actionable notes, if that makes sense. If you have something similar and you do something in your bullet journal planner, please let me know in the comments what your idea is, because I would be all ears for that. But other than that, I am really loving this. It's seemingly enough space for me. It's working quite well. I've obviously got my month set up as normal, so everything's here, and that's the only flicking that I really need to do. And yeah, I really enjoy it. I will see how I get on with this, see it through for another few weeks and take stock and go from there really. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.